Hey YouTube, I'm here out in Isla Sorna looking for a Velociraptor pack to show you guys. Now this is going to be a review of every Velociraptor mould that's been released so far in the Jurassic World toy line, not including repaints. So personally, I've never really been a fan of repaints. I always like all my toys to have unique moulds from each other, but I will mention which ones of these have been released as repaints as we go along. And I'll start off with my least favourite, moving on to the best version. Now I'm going to start off with this Attack Pack Wave 2 Velociraptor. Now this is actually a repaint of the original blue toy, but we've since had a far better blue toy, which I'll get to in a bit. Now, I didn't just choose this Velociraptor because we've had a better version of blue, but also because the colour scheme of this one is a direct homage to one of the original Jurassic Park toy line's Velociraptors, with the light orange main body and a kind of darker orange back and tiger stripe pattern. You can see the similarities there, though the paint job on the original is a bit more extensive. Being an Attack Pack toy, it's only a relatively cheap one, so the articulation and paint details are minimal. These Attack Pack dinosaurs don't tend to have any paint going over the tail. The paint detail is just on the main body sculpt and doesn't overlap where there's a different part attached like that. I also had to paint the nails myself, which makes a huge difference between it looking like a cheap toy and looking just a bit more quality and a bit more realistic. And it's not too hard to paint the nails yourself, even though it would be nice if they were done when you buy it. But the articulation is the mouth opens, and the mouth's painted inside, which is good. You need that detailing. The arms move forward and backwards, and the legs move forward and backwards, so you can get a few different poses with him looking upright as if he's kind of roaring, or looking, you know, facing down as if he's eating some of his prey. So even though the articulation is minimal, you can still get some nice enough poses out of him, and then just he's got just a nice kind of neutral pose there, walking along. Now he's got some nice sculpted detail, but I feel like the detail shows up more on the blue version of this mould. I don't know if it's because the light orange colour scheme is just so bright, it kind of, you lose a bit of the detailing when you're looking at it. Whereas on the blue figure, which is mostly a grey body, all the little details, the creases in the muscle and stuff, they just show up a bit more. Now the second Velociraptor I have here is from the first wave of the Attack Pack, and I wasn't sure about getting this guy initially because he's in such a specific pose, and I normally like my toys to be in a bit more of a neutral pose. But I'm actually really glad I got this guy because he looks so unique with this stalking pose he's got. And with the articulation, which is the same as the last one, you know, the legs move back and forward and the arms move back and forward and his mouth opens. But with the articulation, you can actually have him in a pose where he's kind of looking upwards, as if he's either looking up at a larger dinosaur like a T-Rex or something, or maybe looking up at the alpha Velociraptor, or if you've got a Velociraptor that's up on a higher bit of ground. So even though he hasn't got neck articulation, because of the body sculpt, you can get him in a pose which is you know, still quite unique and gives you a bit of variety between that or having his head down along the ground stalking his prey. So I do really like this guy. Now we had a green Velociraptor in Jurassic World, so I guess he's based on that one. I think it was Charlie, the green one. And I do like some variety with the colours of my Velociraptors. I'm just hoping that Mattel will do the same thing with the T-Rexes soon. But he looks really nice there. Now the third Velociraptor toy I have here is from the Legacy collection, and this is based on the look of the Velociraptors from the Lost World Jurassic Park. Though I think the head sculpt actually looks more like a Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptor, but it's very different from the more modern Jurassic World Velociraptor toy head sculpt. It's more curved and got more kind of lumps in it, and I will do a comparison in a bit. But with this guy, he's got a far more detailed paint job. As you can see, the paint on the back goes all the way up the tail. He's got kind of a darker orange, which fades to a lighter orange, and then a white underneath. And his toenails are also painted as well when you get him, though I still had to paint the fingernails myself. But it's nice to have at least a bit of extra detailing there. Articulation wise, his arms move forward and back like the attack pack ones, but they also move out to the sides like that. So you've got a bit more articulation there, and in the head he's also got some articulation which the others didn't have. You know, his mouth opens same as the others, but his head also moves up and down like that and swivels to the side, so you can get a bit more of a range of motion out of him, a few more poses of him looking down and whatnot like that. But the legs are really hindered with articulation because of the action feature. There are springs in the leg for the action feature, which means that you can't move the legs at all outside of using the action feature, which is kind of frustrating because it does limit the posing you can do. You can't have him standing a bit more upright like that or anything because of it, which is a shame. And also the action feature, I guess is because of the action feature, they gave him these huge feet which look really goofy. I mean, it looks like he's wearing Velociraptor slippers on his feet because they're so big. And I don't think you really need the feet to be that big for the action feature to work. If anything, I think the action feature would work better if it didn't have the heavy feet kind of dragging him down a bit. It's kind of hit and miss whether it'll work or not. I'll try and knock down a figure. Yeah, he just about did it. Sometimes it works better than other times. Here you can see the difference between the head designs of the Lost World and Jurassic World Velociraptors, whereas the newer one's far more kind of squared and angular, whereas the Lost World one is sort of more curved and pointy. This one's definitely more detailed, more intricate of a design, but I think part of that's just because it's part of the Legacy collection rather than the cheaper Attack Pack collection. Now, I think this is the mould that's been repainted the most. It's been released as blue, and I think it's also been painted in the colour scheme of a Velociraptor from the first Jurassic Park movie, and I think it's being released again later this year or next year in a brown colour scheme like the original Velociraptor toy from the first Jurassic Park toy line. So that's at least 4 uses of this mould. And now for the best of the new Velociraptor toys, and that's Battle Damage Blue here. Now straight away you can probably see that the paint detailing is a lot better than the Attack Pack versions. On the Attack Pack blue, the blue didn't go along the tail, and it also didn't have this white pattern around the blue, kind of outlining it. The one thing I find strange about this is that on this side the blue comes up over her eye, but on this side it doesn't. Now, maybe this is accurate to the film and I just haven't noticed it before, so maybe someone can tell me in the comments, but it just looks strange to me that it, on one side it goes all the way past her eye and on this side it doesn't. Now this has got the nicest articulation of all of them. It's got the toenails painted as well, which is nice, but not the hand nails, but the arms go out and forward and back like the Legacy Collection one, but on this one the legs, as well as going forward and back, also swivel out to the sides, only slightly really, but it's enough that it helps with stability and getting a few different poses out of her. One thing though with the articulation on this is, because the head goes back like this, I was hoping I could get her in a kind of stalking pose, but this leg here just will not stay forward. When you try to get her like that, it tends to pop back. This is the first time ever that it has not popped back, just to prove me wrong in a video. But every single time I've tried this before, it would not work. But okay, it's proved me wrong. If you persevere with it, she will get in a crouching pose like that, which is nice. And you can also have her standing more upright like that as well if you want. The head kind of up in the air like that. So you've got a really great range of motion with this girl, and because the head has got a really nice swivel to it, the Legacy Collection Velociraptor had neck articulation, but it wasn't in as good a position as this, where you can get the head moving all over the place for different poses. That's it, girl, work the camera. The camera loves you, baby. Now the action feature on Blue here is that if another dinosaur comes along and attacks her, it will give her battle damage. Now, I don't know if you can see in there. It's about as close as I can get it without it going out of focus, but you can see the muscle tissue, and there are kind of claw marks in her flesh, so it's quite gory looking, quite cool looking detailing to it. And the good thing about this is, unlike old Jurassic Park toys that had battle damage, the flesh bit here doesn't actually come off. It presses in and then it springs down. So you're not going to lose that, because old Jurassic Park toys are a nightmare to find complete, because kids would always lose the battle damage part. So I like that this is all still part of a complete toy and there's nothing that comes off, no separate pieces. And this is very reminiscent of the old Battle Armor He-Man from Mattel's Master of the Universe toy line, which had the same kind of feature where you'd have an enemy whack him in the chest with a sword or an axe or something, and the same thing would happen. The chest would spin round like that and reveal battle damage to his armour, dents and things. The scan codes for the feet quickly. For the app. You just pause them if you need to. So that's my Velociraptor pack, and a look at what, as far as I'm aware, is every different Velociraptor mould they've released so far for this scale of the toy line. Obviously, if you're more of a fan of repaints than I am, you could have an even larger pack of different coloured ones. And thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next video.